Why, hello there. It is that time in the week again where I present to you another episode of This Week in Astro. It's just a wee recap of the ongoings of what's been happening inside the Astroverse. And this weeks are coming in faster now, that's for sure. And we end the week on the 9th of October. And we normally start our weekly episodes by looking over Astro. And our showcase is a great place, for example, to be inspired about the next Astro project. Find that by going to the Astro.build website. From there, you can look at some of the wonderful work that a lot of the astronauts and a lot of the community has put together over Astro's time. Now, Astro's userland integrations, along with our own, can all be found here on our integrations page. And we have hundreds of amazing integrations with Astro. So if you're ever short or stuck, there's probably an integration already there for you. And if you want to get your own theme added to the Astro themes page, or if you wish to have your integrations added, or even add to the showcase or showcase your website on the Astro.build website, then you can just submit an issue to the Astro.build repo and we'll get that up there for you. And while you're there, do take a look over the actual Astro repo. This way you can keep up to date with all the important going on in and around the actual project and as many repositories. And if you want to get in touch with our wonderful community of astronauts, well, you could do so by going to the astro.build.chat, and we look forward to seeing you there, guys. And now we're straight into the community news from Astro for the past week. And we normally set this up, so the community calls take place on a Tuesday, and Nate leads these, and as you can see, the agenda is normally posted before the community calls. You can find a copy of the actual call itself online on YouTube on Astro's own YouTube channel, Astro.TV. And while you're there, do give us a wee like and a subscribe. These calls are getting recorded, and if you can't make them, well, there's a recording that goes up live for you shortly afterwards. And the next week's appointment for you to set in your calendar is on Tuesday, 7 PM GMT, and that is when we have these community calls in the Discord forum. And it is an open place, guys. It's like I highly encourage you all to speak up and tell us candidly about your thoughts on the discussions and the features that are making its way through. There's many of them, and yeah, we love to hear from as many of you as possible. On the RFC discussions page, you'll find a roadmap for Q4. And I'm happy to report to you that we're making good progress on a roadmap set for this quarter. We're looking at implementing much of the requested features, such as a hybrid SSR, SSG build mode, caching your fetch responses during development, looking to integrate testing support into Astro, continuously looking to improve Astro's DX, our docs, our community, our support, and a whole lot more. So yeah, the Q4 roadmap is looking very interesting, guys. But this week we were given a wee treat. Astro's got a couple of actions that are available for you to get, and this one here is on the actual GitHub Actions page. It is the Astro Deploy action. Now this GitHub action is, as you can see on the screen, just a wee run command, and all it really does is instruct GitHub to take your Astro repo once it's built, be able to put that into its GitHub pages and get that deployed onto the web for you. Now we've got this in practice, and this is the actual a real life implementation example for you. Yeah, there's nothing much to it, as simple as straightforward as possible, but Nate managed to get the time to get this all set up for us, and as a result we have a template for you to clone and spin up, and this will automatically deploy you to GitHub pages for your Astro project. It is fantastic, guys. So by all means, if you're looking to utilize GitHub pages, we've got a template that is ready for you to go, and a GitHub action that you can download from the actual GitHub's market store itself. Now, we're into conference season, and it's that point in the tech year where developers from around the world meet up to talk about all their favourite things, and this time, the Astro team is actually going to be at quite a sought after event by the sounds of things. Viteconf is a who's who of everyone. You've got so many people attending Viteconf and so many speakers at Viteconf. Is going to be an interesting couple of days, guys. And like I said, the Astro team's going to be there representing in its earnest. We've got Lieutenant Dan Jutan, who's going to be talking about how you could utilize Vite in order for you to create learning experiences and platforms for you to help teach coding and deliver real rich experiences to the end user. Then we've got Captain Ben Holmes, right, is going to be showing us how island architecture is set up. Apparently you can set up Astro in 5 minutes, or that's what Ben tells us at least, right? And then we've got Major Nate Moore. Now, he is going to be discussing island architecture at a more overall general approach. I have no idea what these guys are talking about. I'm just literally going from the snippets that I've been told, right? It looks really interesting. And last but not least, we've got Fred, who's going to be sitting amongst the Fredwork and the frameworks panel, basically fighting it out, you know, and amongst everybody else to tell them that Astro is by all means the best, right? And in all honesty, you got to love it when a wee plan comes together, right? The way that this all got coordinated, the relationship with Vite and Astro is just getting stronger and stronger, and we love it. So we highly encourage you all to try and get your ticket booked, right? It's a free ticket. Head over to viteconf.org. It is the Tuesday the 11th and Wednesday the 12th of October, so the following week coming. And in the Vite Discord channel, Patak has set it up so that way you have the events. So for every speaker, there's going to have their own little forum post for us to, like, you know, go in there and chat in amongst absolutely everybody else. It's going to be really exciting, guys, in amongst, well, Discord for the next couple of days. So if you want to get in touch with or speak to or even, you know, hear from all these amazing people like Rich Harris, Ryan, who else? We've got Dylan over at Marco, right? Adam Bradley over at Quick, Fran over at Hydrogen. I mean, there's so many brilliant people, right, coming to this actual conference. It's going to be fantastic for you all to be there, right? And not only that, that's not the only conference action that's going on at the present moment. We've got React Brussels also happening, online and in Brussels, right? And we've got two of our very own community members speaking there. We've got Elian, who's brave and proud enough, right, to be representing Astro for us at these conferences, and it's absolutely amazing. So if you can, guys, this is happening on Friday, Friday the 14th, and you'll be talking about Astro in front of React engineers, talking about Astro, why they should use it, and how you could utilize React within Astro. We here in Astroland, we're pretty much familiar with this story, but for new React users, what Elian is doing for Astro is huge, and he's a great ambassador for the project, guys. Next up, we have Dan, and Dan is actually going to be talking about simplifying reactivity with Solid.js. Now, Dan is, you know, it's like we wish them both the very best while they're over in Brussels. And now we're over to the pulse section of the Astro repo. It has been a phenomenal week in terms of what's actually been happening in Astro. The week started off with 131 issues that were presently opened. Now, between Matthew and Bjorn, they managed to close 50% of them, right? Closing 67 issues, and bringing that all the way down, as you can see here, right? It's like the number of issues raised was 15 over the course of the week. If you go to the GitHub repo itself, you'll see the actual issues numbering in the mid 50s, low 60s, and that is phenomenal. I mean, if you want to like compare it to another successful project, for instance, say like TypeScript, right? You'll be seeing about 5,000 issues opened there. So I mean, for us, issues are very important. What you guys raise is what you guys see, and how you feel when you're playing with Astro, and feeding that back to us is really important. And we always feel that these issues, you know, we don't want to get inundated by them, so we like to keep on top of them. And the work that these two boys have done over the past week is phenomenal. And looking at the PRs that were actually merged, we had 42 out of the 51 PRs merged as well. All in all, this has been a fantastic week from the 20 or so contributors to the actual Astro project this week, right? Keep up the great work, guys. It really is impressive. Now, we hit the latest release on 1.4.6 or 4.6. Now, between us finishing last week on version 4.2 to now, what we had was a couple of improvements in the sense to Astro. So with the release announcements, there's a couple of things to tell you. First of all, the compiler got a shiny new upgrade, right? There was a number of bug fixes that went into this. So the compiler has been upgraded with a minor release to version 0.26. As I said, a number of bugs got fixed in the process, right, which is fantastic from our point of view. The Astro.slots.render, right, has now got the support to handle MDX files, whereas in the past this was only available to you really with Markdown, but now MDX support is here for us, right? What this means for you is that if you were to look at a typical Markdown file, right, for instance, what I've got here on the screen for you, we've got a couple of functions, we've got a couple of components, right? The first one here is just basically renders a div with a default slot in it. The second one just basically renders a div with the function component, with the callback function being passed through. And then lastly, we've got some arguments being passed in, right? As you can see with the text attribute at the bottom line there where it says render with arguments, we're passing this little text argument through now saying this is cool, and that will render out into the span. Now, 3 very cool ways of expressing yourself in Markdown, in MDX, sorry. Right. Now, all this transpires to is in the background that you could use the same syntax that we're very familiar with. Here we are awaiting the default slot. Once we get that back to us, we're just basically using set HTML and popping that content directly in for us, right? Same thing when you're running a function. No difference there. And then lastly, when you're rendering the arguments out, right, we're just basically taking the properties, the text property from before, so and then just passing that in as a secondary argument into the render mechanism there. And not only that, we can actually inline this, right? So if you notice in the 2 previous examples, we had the await.slots.astro.slots.render in the front matter. Here we're actually inlining this within the set HTML attribute. And yeah, so that's just basically a summary of the 3, the Astro.slots utilizing MDX files now, which is fantastic. It's good to see that MDX and Markdown now comes a lot closer together. We had a number of performance improvements as well. For instance, there was a regression in rendering performance since 1.3. Now, thankfully, it was a very innocuous performance bug, right? And it really affected edge cases where we're streaming long streams of HTML data to the client, and this would trip up. We now have this cool ability to run benchmarks on PRs that were made to Astro to see if they were actually having a positive or a negative effect on Astro. Now, there are greater implications for these benchmarks that they have now been since they've now been incorporated into our workflow. For instance, with the performance improvements made to the rendering regression, it's helped put the results back on track with Astro as it was before the regression was introduced in 1.3, right? As you can see here, some very impressive numbers. Right? And we have also got TSX source maps now finally landed. This is off the back, right, of some hard work from both Nate and Erica. The impact of TSX source maps will really be felt in the coming weeks, months, and years with Astro, right? It's one of those things that is going to ripple through the project. It's going to make the ability to introduce, for instance, better developer experience through the language server. That, is going to be huge in that respect. It's going to be able for us to give you better error support and error messages, that's going to get surfaced up. Things like that, and I must follow Matthew here. It's like the effort that has went into this one announcement alone from both Erica and Nate has been absolutely humongous, right? It's been astronomical in trying to get source maps working in the compiler. This is a part of This Week in Astro where we go through the amazing contributions that came from the community that's made their way into the into core this week. The first one comes from Oscar. As described here, right, is like he's made quite a cool wee PR to the Astro prefetch. Whereas there was a bug that was preventing the prefetch. Sorry, there was a bug that was prefetching the current page. Now, what he's done is basically made it ensure that the current page is not requested if it's present as a prefetch link. It removes a useless hash check that was probably a typo in his opinion, right? And he's even added for the test to make sure that this is caught in the future. So, Oscar, great work, mate. This was awesome. Thank you very much. It's great to see that land. Jutan has been back again, right? I think this is 3rd, 4th PR, right, to core. And he's found a wee bug where the import.meta.env, the base URL that's presented, right, when you expose through the environment variables, will always be set to a / in client loaded components in dev mode. So after searching around, he found previous issues describing a similar situation. He found a PR that fixed the issue in production mode. So he basically done similar, right, where he defined the base URL to the settings, the config.base in the settings. Right, he's even added end-to-end testing as well for this, just to visually check that it doesn't appears properly, right? And again, Jutan, thank you very much for the great contributions that you're making to Astro, mate. It is fantastic. Daniel was back again, right, with another wonderful update. This time he was just helping to adjust the Cloudflare adapter to now respect user configs for when you're using the solid integration in SSR mode. It is now better to configure it in that environment so it works better with the adapters, with any adjustments made to the adapter. So yeah, Daniel, thank you very much for this amazing PR that you keep doing. We really appreciate it, my friend. Next up, we have Yao. I said that wrong, didn't I? Yeah, Yoha. There we go. Yoha's helped update the dependency within the Astro Party Town integration, right? This helped fix an open issue in the process as well. Again, small but much appreciated. So thank you very much for that, dude. Then we had Calvin. Now, Calvin basically helped fix some issues, right, where there was a problem when it was object styles were not being escaped properly. Right? So as you can see here at the top, we're just passing in a wee style, it's like inline style with a background. We're just setting we're just inlining the background to an image, right? Happy days. Now, what came before this PR was it being sent through Word line for line with the quotation marks, and we all know that this is how bugs happen. And thankfully, Calvin caught this one for us and managed to put a wee fix in where he's escaped that for us, like you see in the bottom line there, right, with the new rendered output being correct. Thank you very much for that, dude. Really appreciate it. Right. Now we're straight into the docs, the pulse for the docs repo, and the docs team. Well, the many amazing authors in the docs project have been hard at work this week, like as hard as a core team. And this is a community-led project, and it's amazing to see the fantastic work that you guys are putting into. So this week we've seen a steady pace of issues being closed at 50%, but more impressively is the number of PRs that were merged as well this week, with 76 active pull requests sitting there in the docs repo. More on that in a wee second, but 50 of them did get merged. There's been a lot of changes that's coming their way into the docs. Docs is like a living documentation. It's forever changing. It's gotta love it. And we have the first news at the bat for the docs project is an update on the Hacktoberfest. Now, Hacktoberfest has landed in Astro, and the whole point of Astro's Hacktoberfest is to try and encourage as many people to translate, and not only translate, provide reviews. So we're looking for translators and those to review those PRs that are getting put through this month, right? Just so that way we can try and get them merged and make sure that they are being translated correctly, right? So we've even got it set up so that way we're recognizing both efforts here, right? To find out more, head on over to the link that you see on the screen there, guys, right? And you'll check out the guide that describes all the how to go about doing it, like registering with the Hacktoberfest organisers, making sure it's in before the 31st, letting know that you put the PR in so we can stick the label on it, etc., right? And if you want to keep up to date, right, or find out, where you could help contribute, we have it set up so wonderfully that you could just head on over to the actual GitHub repo and hit the issues tab. And there you will see the internationalization ticket right there at the top, and here it shows you all the pages that are currently translated, those that are needing updated, and those that are needed to be translated as well. Okay. And it is as simple as clicking a wee hyperlink, and that's how easy it is for you to actually get up and going to translating a page that is missing, needing updated. It is this has been set up quite wonderfully, guys. And as you can see, the little link is up at the top there, so if you were to head on over to the issues, that is what you'll be clicking there, right? But this is the 25 or so open PRs that are all sitting there as part of the Hacktoberfest, which is so exciting to see. We've already got a couple that has been accepted to as part of the Hacktoberfest. Amazing work, right? I'm going to be doing a massive shout out at the end of the month to all those who have been accepted, right? So guys, you've got what, 22 days to get them all in, right? And just to let you know, again, reviewers, we do need you, right? So for those PRs that are sitting there, those 25 PRs that are sitting there, they do need reviewed. If you can take the time to head on over to the Astro GitHub repo, go to the docs repo, and by all means review some of the PRs that are sitting there, it would help speed the process and help get some of these amazing authors accepted as part of their Hacktoberfest commitments, right? And always, guys, a big shout out to the wonderful work that has been carried out by the international team, right? Translating Astro into 7 languages, right? And this is just in summary of what is still outstanding, right? So there is still a fair bit of work to be done. But major shout out to the Espanol team. These guys are on top of it. Any changes made to the docs, they're immediately got an update ready for it. It's fantastic to see. Next on, we're flying on over to the language tools, right? We're taking a wee look over some of the updates that are coming out. And I'm actually really proud to announce this. This is Astro now has Vim support, but this didn't come from where you expected. This came from Wilner. Wilner Martinez provided this wonderful contribution to the Astro community. This is not the only time. This time he's helped implement the language server into Vim via their LSP settings project, which manages the different languages within the Vim language, the Vim editor that you get in the terminal. Now, this is actually amazing. Personally speaking, I'm a VS Coder, right? Well, VS Code guy. But I've seen many people utilize Vim. Scares me. But still, you now use Astro in Vim. So you terminal lovers, you can experience the full Vimness of Vim. And it's going to be Vim and Fan Vim. Vim. Right, anyways. So Vim on over to the language tools, right? If you would like to help expand the language experience for Astro into different environments, like you've just seen there, right? With Wilmer's amazing contribution to getting it into Vim. We've also got the Prettier project as well, right? Which is one of Astro's much loved integrations. And if you like to help expand both the Prettier, the language tools, the repos there within the Astro with the Astro repo, guys, and by all means go help join Anthony, Erica, and the wonderful work that these guys are doing to get the language tools up to date for you. Now we're moving over to the support squad, right? We're going to be checking out some of the amazing work that gets done, right? So now a wee summary about the support squad, the squaddies, and what these guys like to do throughout the week. And the support forums set up now, right? So that way we can actually help folk can help come in, ask questions, and get direct specific responses to their issues, right? Not only that, it makes it searchable. There's so many amazing things about the support forums I personally love. And if you like to come and join the amazing efforts, right, throughout Astro, if you're new to Astro, if you're new to the community, the Discord community itself, head on over to the Manage Roles channel right at the top there. And you could join up to any of the roles. For instance, we've got the Docs team now. There are plenty of them, 138 members of them, man. You could join the dev team, like I said, 76 Space Invaders sitting over there. Or you could come and join the real work, the cold face of it all, at the support squad. We come about triaging and helping individuals and meeting so many fantastic people, right? And trying to help unblock them. And then at the end of the day, we might occasionally get a thank you, and that makes it all worth it, right? And then you've also can go and help join Erica, right, in her mission and making Astro one of the best developer experiences in the entire ecosystem, right? Head on over to the managed roles. And this week we've got two trusted lieutenants within the support squad. We've got Happy Dev and we've got Bryce. And we've also got Erica coming in now. Erica's support has always been fantastic, and no matter if it's just in support, but everywhere else in the Discord community, she loves Astro and she loves the people in and around Astro, right? And as a real princess, she does look after her wards quite well, right? So thank you very much, troops. It has been actually amazing having you contributing the way you have been the past week. It's fantastic. We're now over to the last part of This Week in Astro, where we're just catching up on a few of the streams that you might have missed, right? Now, the first one is Jaden's Little Sticks YouTube channel. Here he has a fantastic stream of integrating Astro with Sanity, their CMS tool, right? 20 minutes long. The work that Jaden's doing over at Little Sticks, the community that he's setting up over there is fantastic to see, and we wish Jaden and Little Sticks all the very best. Next up, we have our good friend Luke, who's basically continuing his journey, utilizing Astro, coming across many cool, wonderful things about Astro, like putting in animations on his homepage. Managed to get Anime.js working. Looks actually quite cool. I like it. I do enjoy his streams. So by all means, jump in, right, and catch up with Luke's streams if you can. We've also got White Panther as well. Now, Selma was continuing her effort in whiteboarding the dev. Now, she's at the point where she's styling it. Now, the styles that she's applying to the actual project looks really cool. And as always, her streams are really... Right, her streams are really interactive. There's a number of people who are there. The ambience, it is fun just to sit there and hang out, right, with all the other amazing members of the Claw clan. Now we're over to a podcast, not a stream, but a podcast that you can get on Spotify and absolutely everywhere else, right? It is the wonderful podcast that is The Whiskey, The Web, and Whatnot, where you can join Robert William Wagner and his, Charles William Carpenter III, and you could also, and our very own Dan Jutan on Whiskey, Web, and Whatnot. You talk about many things, mainly getting Dan drunk on whiskey was fantastic, right? And it was a great listen. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And then we all kneel before Ben as he takes us through Zod, and actually how amazingly awesome Zod is. Like legit, this stream, right, turned around and blew my mind wide open, right? I highly recommend these guys checking out this stream and all the other ones that I've just mentioned, right? They're utterly fantastic. And on that note, guys, that is it for This Week in Astro. Wish you all for the week ahead a great one. On that note, peace and love, guys. Peace and love.